welcome back to the Celtic State of Mind. It's a Tuesday Bulletin. I'm your host Declan McConville, joined as per usual by Patrick McGilp, Lawrence Connolly. Just to do my wee spiel at the start, if you're watching, click that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit new targets with the subscribers, and it's always good to give us a like because we're here to talk about Celtic. There's plenty to talk about, gents. We were on last week, just before the game against Bodo Glimt. Patrick, I was fearing for your life and that there probably could have been clips made up or the stuff you said about Bodo, but hopefully the Norwegian champions supporters haven't clicked on to us as of yet. And then we'll be talking about Dundee, Georgios Giakoumakis, and I'm looking forward to this game on Thursday. To kick off, Patrick, talk about your match day experience on Thursday and what you made of the game overall.
Well, there was a bit of a dampener quite early on with that Bodo Glimt goal on 6 minutes, so that didn't give us the best start to the game. It's a very well worked goal, but to go 1-0 down so early on is always very disappointing. It was a bit tense and a bit close for the rest of the first half. We were just talking about a chance that we had, a minute and 14 seconds into the game. So I think it's fine margins, but at the end of the day, they took their limited number of chances and we didn't. And we find ourselves 2 goals behind going into the second leg away in Norway. So it's a bit of a tricky situation we found ourselves in, but we just need to stick to Ange ball and believe in ourselves and hopefully at least take it to extra time, if not turn it around.
Yeah, I don't think we're out of this as of yet. I don't think Bodo's seen anything near the kind of football that we can play. In the group stages of the Europa League, Lawrence, we went to Spain. We scored 3 goals over there. Granted, one of them was a consolation goal at the very end. We went to Germany, scored twice, and we went to Ferencváros and scored 3 times. So we've certainly got a good, decent track record of getting the results away from home in European football. I agree with you, Patty, in that the atmosphere, I think, changed very quick inside Celtic Park on Thursday evening when we went down 1-0. But just before we came on air, I think we actually forget. We had a chance 1 minute, 15 seconds into the game. The ball comes into Maeda. It's a lovely wee slip ball through. It goes across. Bada's really unlucky not to actually get a wee touch on it. And if it had went 1-0 up, minute and 15 seconds into the game, I think it could have been a completely different game of football. But again, of course, that is football. Lawrence, Esbjord went Bodo in front, 6 minutes. Very neat bit of player into our box. What was your take on it? Because I know you're, like myself, a fan of Greg Taylor, but he was left wanting for that goal when Celtic were left wanting really at that goal, and it was just so quick and easy for a team that's not played in so long. They were right at it, and in 6 minutes they capitalised. Yeah,
well, listen, I've just been focusing on this game for the past 3 weeks or so, but it's half time. They had 3 chances and they took 3 chances. We had way more chances, just unfortunately we didn't take as many as them. So I think it's still all to play for. At the end of the day, there was 3 chances they had. Unfortunately, scored all 3, but you've touched on it. We scored in Betis, but we scored in Spain, we scored in Germany. No doubt we could turn this around if we turn up. Especially with Giakoumakis looking bang in form, 16 touches, 3 goals. He's best just not try to control the ball, isn't he? It's just best first touch back in it. Seems to be his game.
Yeah, Hamish Carton picked up in one of his videos on this in 67 Hill, Patrick. The big man, I think all his goals practically at Celtic so far, I think every single one of his goals have been one-touch finishes. His first goal against St Johnstone, it's the ball across for Juranovic, I think, and bang, there he's there. It might be, I think it's Juranovic. Juranovic is involved either. He's either second assist or he actually gets the assist in that one. And he's just showed a bit his class. But we'll get to Georgios Giakoumakis when we come on to the Dundee game. Pat, those goals that I've spoken about, in the Europa League group stages, does that fill you a bit of confidence if we've proved this season that we can go away from home in Europe and scored goals as well as that in the game? Bodo, 4 shots on target, 3 goals. They were clinical, and that's what the manager says, They were clinical. I think it's, and on Thursday night's a good opportunity for us to be clinical. And again, you don't know what can happen at the start of a game of football. If we get a chance like that presented, 1 minute, 15 seconds in like we did at Celtic Park, it could be a completely different game again.
Yeah, 100%. And, there was 2 games this season. I think it was Alkmaar and Ferencváros. Abada crosses it to Kyogo and we score after 2 minutes. Now, Kyogo won't be available, but if we score after 2 minutes for the third European away match this season, that would give us a hell of a start. I can't see them being that clinical again. 3 goals from 4 shots on target, surely not. I do fancy us to score 2 or 3 goals, or I think it's certainly possible that we can score 2 or 3 goals. It's whether or not we are able to keep a clean sheet, because I can't see us winning 5-2 or anything like that. But again, you just need to stick to the game plan. It's worked all season, to a lesser extent in Europe, but we are getting better every single week. So we just need to keep trying to play to our best. We know it's a tough game, but if you want to develop yet and you want to improve, you need to overcome these hurdles, especially in Europe. And I'm sure Ange will be fully concentrating on that.
Get a lot of comments coming in saying good afternoon. Martin, Robert there just before. Paul coming in to say good afternoon. Lawrence, people are picking up on your dress today, wondering if you're heading to the court. So I hope you're not heading to the court. Don't know what you'd be heading to the court for, but I know you can have quite wild nights out and stuff, so hope that's not the case. Lawrence, what did you make of the way we pressed the game on Thursday? Because I thought at times we did look out of possession, a wee bit lost, and I thought I was really, really impressed with Bodo's tactics in the game. They almost did what Liverpool do and playing that kind of 2-3-5 formation, just leaving the 2 centre backs, letting the defensive midfielder drop right in with the 2 wing backs. I mean, the ball went to the front 5. We looked as if we were horses for courses at times.
I thought our midfield was wrong. I thought there was holes all over it. I'm not too sure O'Reilly and Rogic worked well together there. Mm-hmm. So I think that's maybe why we looked a wee bit, the press wasn't working right. I think, as much as Rogic is now doing 90 minutes, I still think, other people need to do his pressing for him. So I just think we had the midfield line up wrong, and that probably affected us. When we're pressing and just let them slide balls through it. Well, almost it looked like. So, look, it's half time. I'm sure Ange will reflect on it. Our forwards weren't on fire there, but it looks as if we'll get a return to form. They're going to be without their keeper or without their first choice keeper, so it's still all to play for. There's no away goals. Thank goodness. That'd be a bit to overturn. So, yeah, listen, we could still do it. And you could still be on the hook for 2 tickets on the 25th of May.
Hopefully, I hope so. Patrick, what was your take on Celtic in and out of possession? Because I think I'm in agreement with Lawrence on that it probably wasn't the game to try Rogic and O'Reilly in the same team, and both of them, we've kind of scrapped the talked about 6, 8s and 10s in that midfield, but, both of them were kind of hugging the halfway line on Thursday evening. And just, I think if you look at the first goal, yes, Taylor's very poor, but you still expect those 2 midfielders to try and get into the play, and the 2 of them are, they're left wanting, they're way behind, and even in the game, they just weren't there. And again, I want to bring up this, it was a conversation you and I had last week, Tom Rogic and European football for Celtic. Does his game suit it, or should we just be focusing on Big Tom and the domestic games? Because as of yet, I think a lot of Celtic fans will be looking at him over his course of his Celtic career, having not done too much when it gets to the group stages or latter stages of tournaments. Key player, certainly in qualifying, but after that, I don't know what it is. Patrick, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't think he's suited to most European games. I'm sure there are some games, Betis, playing Spain, it's a much slower tempo. In Europe, it does quicken up. So, he could play against a team like a Betis. Ferencváros are, no disrespect, are a lesser level to Celtic. Bodo are as well, but we've seen that they're actually a better team than Celtic. Well, certainly played better over the 90 minutes on Thursday. But I think games against Bodo Glimt, games against top-tier European sides like Leverkusen, I don't think you can rely on Tom Rogic, to be honest. There was moments, and I think it was halfway through the first half on Thursday night, you had Jota, Maeda and Abada, and they were just sort of leaving the Bodo back 4. They weren't particularly pressing. They sort of went to the full-backs, but they left the 2 centre-halves to do what they wanted. And I thought that's not the way that we normally play. We don't give anyone any time at all. So it's as if it was a different game plan, which was a bit confusing. And again, Tom, I thought, just lost the ball far too often. I don't think he's got the running in him to be pressing the way that we need to press in Europe in order to
get results.
Keep our consistency and keep our performance levels up. And I think, we saw the same problem with Turnbull earlier in the season. People said he wasn't fast enough, wasn't athletic enough, and that was probably right at the time. He came on a bit, as did Vojic, but I think still at this level, they're probably not the quality that's required.
No, there's certainly, even Real Hatate wasn't included in Thursday evening, and again, you don't know what he could have gave us. I think at the start of the Derby game, if we go back to that game, we were very aggressive in our press right away from the off, and you could see what we were wanting to do. We didn't really have that on Thursday, and I think that sucker punch goal at the very start of the game just, took the spark, if there was any spark in us, right out of us. Lawrence, Michael McDonald's came in the comments to say that he believes that Europe is for next season. What is your take on this one? Because I still would like Celtic to win on Thursday evening. I want us to win every game. I think for momentum purposes, it was disappointing to obviously lose on Thursday. As you rightly said, it's half-time in this tie. And, I know that Patrick feels very strongly in this, that the 18-year hoodoo of not winning a knockout tie after Christmas, it'd be great to get that monkey off the back.
So I think if maybe we reflect where we were at the beginning of the season, and I think anything in Europe's a bonus. But I agree with you that I want to progress in it, but I think it's a bonus. Next year I would expect us to do something in Europe. I'd be more expectant on it, but I think we've exceeded our expectations so far, both in the league and in Europe. So, but we're top of the league. It's half time. There's nothing to stop us going on and run it if we put in a good performance. So, yeah, Ange has got us way ahead of where we should be as a team. But yeah, I think we should go for it and try and win this game. And it's the style of football Ange plays. He always talks about this. He only knows one style of football. It's attacking football. It's trying to win the game. So I wouldn't expect him to do anything different there. If he does, what's the message to the team? You do lose a bit of momentum, don't you? Let's not go for it. Let's just let this tie go and concentrate in the league. So I think, I don't know if you boys remember when Wimbledon were going for a League and Cup double and way back. And
their manager, think we are, Lawrence? Come on, look at his face. Come on. Mate,
there's Betamax videos out there that I'm sure it'll cover this.
Betamax.
Broken ear said it for him.
Even beyond thing.
Just concentrate in the league. And it kind of, I think, was the wrong message, just saying, look, just try one rather than both. And they seem to falter after that. So I think, yeah, giving the message to a team to, ease up. This isn't as important. I'm not putting out full strength teams. Kind of the wrong philosophy. It's not Ange ball, is it? Ange ball's to go out. It's half time. Right, we're getting beat, but we can still turn us round and win it.
100%. And he said that in his Stan Sport interview last week, Lawrence, that Patrick, he said that if you want him to go out there and set up a team to get a draw, he can't do it. He wants to win every single game of football. That's the right thing to be saying as a Celtic manager. I agree with Donald Matheson here, who says full strength team on Thursday, led by Georgios Giacomakis. This can still be done. I totally agree with that, Patrick. I'm a great believer in that if we do progress in Europe, get good results in Europe, that the domestic game takes care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to hope so. I was quite perplexed. I think we both said on here that we thought Hatate and Giacomakis should start on Thursday night. Ended up going with Rogic and Maeda. I'm not sure that's what cost us the game, but I think it upset our tempo. I think we'd started X number of games in a row with Giacomakis up front. He got his goal against Wraith. Hatate was absolutely on fire. I don't know if we were resting him. I'm not entirely sure what that was about. But I thought those two players should have started. And I think Hatate arguably are on form our best midfielder at the minute. I just think you need to play your best players. I think the other concern for Celtic would be that we've spent a lot of money on a lot of players, and I said on here last week that I thought we had better players than Bodo Glimt, and I still think that we do have better players than Bodo Glimt. However, I'm not sure if £4 million Carl Starfelt gets into the Bodo Glimt team. I'm not sure if £3 million Greg Taylor gets into the Bodo Glimt team. Before the game, I'd have said that those two players are better than anything Bodo Glimt have, but
then you watch the system
that
Bodo Glimt.
Aye, the system that they play everyone is so drilled and so sharp to their system that they know what they're doing, and their centre halves looked a lot more comfortable passing out from the back than ours did. So it's a difficult one because, you know, Starfelt's a good player, Carter Vickers is a good player, and yet that they are outplayed by the Norwegian champion centre halves. It's a difficult one to stomach, and it's a difficult one to take because you don't actually know where you need to go from here, because you're spending 10 million on two centre backs and they're being outclassed by a team
on the
who's
full-back.
nowhere near.
On the full-back patch as well, when he was a right-back playing at left-back, they've just bought him. So I think this guy's possibly his debut for Bodo, a competitive debut for Bodo. So I saw a comment earlier on, sorry to deflate this gentleman's afternoon, but there's absolutely no chance we're going to be buying him because they've just got him. But again, that ties in absolutely with what you're saying there, Patrick. And that as a team, they were so well drilled that they could shift the right-back over to left-back, something we did on Sunday. Again, it works okay for us domestically, and he fits the system so well. Sorry to cut you off on that one, Patrick. You wouldn't add anything else into that, what you were saying there about players just not being at the same kind of, you know, drilled level that you think Celtic players are at?
No, it's, you know, we've seen Tom Rogic plenty of times this season, you know, playing like a Player of the Year performance, and, you know, we've seen him so many times. You know, the two whole Rodgers seasons, he was absolutely immense. I don't think he did win player.
Yeah.
I don't think he did win Player of the Year.
He didn't. But no, Scott Sinclair and Scott Brown both years.
Yeah, and yet in Europe, it's a different type of football. It's a different level, and I think it actually shows how poor Scottish football is to an extent, because, you know, 50% of the time you're blowing teams away. You know, in first halves this season, you know, Hibernian, Dundee. You know, we've been through it all before. There is now such a gap between Scottish football and Celtic, and then Celtic and the rest of Europe. And you sort of wonder where we go from here, to be honest.
Well, yeah, Paul Cockrell, one of our usual Tuesday contributors on it, came in to say try win the league, then focus on Europe next time. That ties in just with what Patrick's saying there perfectly. Should the focus and the eggs all be in one basket, looking towards that monetary income that can come with winning the league this year? Because if we win the league this year, there's obviously still the chance that if whoever goes on to win the Champions League hasn't already qualified, Celtic might not get that place, or the winners of the league might not get that place. But should that be where we're looking towards more importantly, and trying to build on, you know, income coming into the club and trying to get the club where we are? Or is it just the case that this Celtic squad team is still very early in its evolution of Ange Postecoglou, and results in Europe and progress will come eventually, given time?
Listen, progress will definitely come given time, but you know, the league, you know, it's priority number one, isn't it? You want to regain the championship, but you know, if you had a choice just now over winning the Conference League, you know, your second European trophy, or winning the league, no, I'm not too sure. But there's no reason why we can't win both, you know. But we've got a bit of cushion in the league now, you know. 3 points, number of goals ahead, we're going well, and I just think changing the team up, and you know, we saw against the likes of Alouettes, some of the boys that we brought in when we tried to play maybe not the first 11, they just weren't up to the mark, were they? So for me, I'd be going to try and win it, and I don't think it's kind of an either or here, putting out your first team. I know it's on plastic pitches that they've not been the kindest to us, but if we put out the first team and we win, you'd expect us to get a huge lift after that. You know, going into face Hibs. You know, they would be sky high, wouldn't they, if they overturn that result? So, but saying that, we're going to play Hibs. Maloney's looks to have weathered the storm a wee bit there. He was wavering a bit, but a couple of good goals at the weekends. Definitely we'll have them up for the game. But for me, it's strongest 11 both games. As long as that strongest 11 is not O'Reilly and Rogic in the same midfield, I think it just didn't work, did it?
Yeah. Unless, again, it's going to come with time. But again, as you say, it's not a game to be experimenting. But I totally agree with you, Lawrence. I think for me, it's strongest 11 both games. I know that's a tagline today because it's been a discussion that's been going around with people. But I totally agree. I think if we get the win party over there and then Norway and the Arctic Circle on Thursday, the momentum that would give us going into Easter Road would be huge. But again, it's a very tricky tie. Again, one of our other usual regular Tuesday contributors, I think we know it's not Gavin Strachan because they're probably in training at this point in time and having his lunch. If he's having his lunch and he's tuning in, then fair play to him. But he's saying that Big Gigi looks like it might be a bargain. Let's hope he's going to do the number 7 jersey justice. Who was the last player to wear a number 7 jersey for Celtic, gents, and score a hat-trick? There's the quiz question of the day. Any of the two, you know?
I'll need to pass on that. I'll go Henrik, but I don't think it is him.
Lawrence?
No, I don't know, no. No.
Robbie Keane, who we're not going to talk about because Robbie seems to have a wee bit of revisionism and seems to be one of these strange players who, deemed to play for Celtic, but then is going and playing in some World 11 in a game in the summer, which is a bit strange, but hey-ho. It's good to see that the other Kino, the other Kino was opening, I think it was a kind of homeless shelter place in Cork at the weekend, and the photos on Twitter, if you've not checked out, and there's a guy there with him, Patrick. I'm a big Roy Keane fan, obviously, the Celtic Man United connection, and there he's there with that green kit that we wore in his debut away to Clyde. He'd signed the guy's jersey and he's standing with the old Celtic top, so I hope Roy Keane still takes an interest in Celtic, just as long as he doesn't fancy the gaffer's job anytime soon. As much as I like him as a pundit and as a football personality, no chance. To go back to the Bodo game, because we want to cover obviously Dundee and look forward to Thursday. Patrick, we got the 2 chances after half time. Jota kind of came to life. It's a decent enough save from the goalkeeper. Maeda has the chance, the goalie that hits off his shoulder, but then Pellegrino, 55 minutes, bang. Again, Greg Taylor's left wanting. What was your thoughts in that goal at 2-0? And did you think that at that point, we're done here, or did you still think there was still a chance we could get in it? I thought there was still a goal in us at that point, but it was really, really poor goal to concede. And 10 minutes after half time is never good to concede a goal. Yeah,
it's a bit of a sucker punch, that. He's on the deck, that guy. I think it's Solbakken, his name is. He's on the deck for a good 5 minutes, and then we lose possession. They got the park. He makes a miraculous recovery. I think sort of divine intervention there. He was in serious amounts of pain.
Too much time at that chapel, Patrick. Divine interventions. Told you about this.
But he suddenly gets to his feet. Breezes past Greg Taylor all too easily. Squares it to Pellegrino. Hearts on the deck, thinking he's going to hit it first time, and he's just got an empty net.
The flick's lovely, by the way, I must say. The wee flick on is very nice, and they'd have possibly got a penalty because he gets clattered with the flick. It's a really nice finish. The flick makes a goal.
I've only seen it back the once. Is it definitely onside? Because I know
yes, he's 100% off. He's 100% onside, and again, play at the whistle. You see Juranovic standing with a hand up. Play at the whistle.
Taking lessons from Craig Gordon there.
Yes,
his hand up at every goal. But no, it totally deflates the atmosphere. It's hard to G a crowd up when you're 2-0 down, and there's something like 130 minutes left in the tie, but there's only about 40 minutes left in the game. The best case scenario is a draw, and we get that Maeda goal, and it really does lift the crowd. But just like Copenhagen, we immediately concede another. It's incredible, the parallels and the similarities. I can't remember Greg Taylor having a worse game for Celtic. I know he was caught wanting that Copenhagen tie as well, but he was sort of playing left wing back, and he's not a left wing back. He was playing in his natural position this time, and he was found wanting several times on the night.
I don't think the system helped him. I don't think the system helped him at all either.
No, you can often find yourself blaming individuals for something that that is wrong with the system, and I think that's probably what happened. But at the same time, he definitely played. Yeah, he definitely played badly, and I think I seen a graph yesterday that Dundee targeted our left-hand side with goal kicks, and something like 27 out of 30 goal kicks actually found a Dundee player. So that shows you our left-hand side, people are targeting it. And it didn't really work for Dundee. I mean, they did almost hold us to a draw, but, our quality showed in the end. But just on Europe in general, a lot of people say, oh, we should focus on the league, or we shouldn't focus on the league, focus on Europe, the league takes care of itself. I think this time it's very different, because the league is effectively worth something like £35 million. And it's never been like that before. All through the attempted 10 in a row, you're focusing on the league just for the sake of a league title, whereas now you're focusing on it to take it's a financial step up. Not only that, you're depriving other teams in Scotland of £35 million that they most desperately want. So it's a massive financial asset to have this season. So I think focusing on the league might not be a bad thing.
No, but again, you're talking about that drop down money again. That strengthens the league. What you're going back to earlier, Patrick, about the gap in quality between the SPFL sides and the Premier League and the big two, if you will. It's there to see. And even on that, when you look at it, the money is absolutely massive. How that money's invested into the club is obviously, a different thing. Last summer, £10 million between two players, two that are likely to get shipped out. It's about using that money wisely, but I would trust Ange Postecoglou to use that money wisely. Lawrence, we got back into the game with that header from Maeda. It's a great cross from Juranovic, cracking header. But I think there was a lot of people like Copenhagen, but we seem to panic. We get excited at that point in time. We've got a goal back. It should just be a case of calming right down, getting a bit of control of the game again. Bodo just went right at us and they get the deflected goal. And again, the goal, Vettelsson's goal, it doesn't happen in every game. But, he's taken the strike on, he's seen the gap and bang, it's went into the back of the net. And that's it at that point in time, 3-1.
Listen, there's a bit of good fortune about it. It's deflection. As you say, you close up for 5 minutes and then go for it. But we didn't have much luck on the night. We could have had 2 penalties for players straying offside. So in another game with a bit of luck, those boys don't stray offside and we get a couple of penalties. So we didn't have much going for us. They didn't have many chances. I think we had, with more of the ball, with more passes. I think it was like 12 corners to nothing. I don't think the second half, the second tie is beyond us. I'm saying the second half, but it is only half time. I think we could easily turn this around. Just need to learn how to play in plastic, And if we can turn this around over there, you never know. It might give us some hope for beating Livingston away.
Lawrence Brown Warriors digging you up because I remember this podcast and he's asking you again, and he's still not convinced that Giakoumakis is good enough for Celtic.
So, he's had 3 goals, a hat-trick, brilliant performance, but I wasn't convinced by his earlier performances when he's not scoring and missing chances. Hopefully he can continue these performances and continue getting his goals. But, it's going to be over the long term. What is that? Morrison said it's over kind of 900 minutes before he judges, but he was missing some chances in other games. I mean, I thought he had a cracking 60 minutes against Rangers. I thought that was probably his best 60 minutes up to that point. But
he looked standard in that game.
He looked to be putting in a lot more effort and closing down a lot better than that we hadn't seen him before. Away to Alloa, I thought it was terrible, So hopefully he continues scoring goals. But is one hat-trick going to convince me that he's our answer at centre forward and he's now first choice centre forward? Not yet. If Kyogo was fit, I'd say he'd start in front of him. He's probably put himself starting in front of Maeda. In fact, last Tuesday, all 3 of us had him starting instead of Maeda. But I think he's going to do more than score 3 goals against Dundee. If he scores 3 against Bodo Glimt away, it would go a long way to convincing me.
You'll have his name tattooed if he scored a hat-trick away to Bodo. Me and Patrick will chip in for it. About that for a deal for you. But Patrick,
you can get it done on the 25th of May when you're giving us the tickets over in Albania.
You're getting your heart set in this, by the way. You're going to be going on to this to me. Celtic really need to get a result so you can continue this part of me. But Patrick, see what you were talking about the Champions League earlier. Last time Champions League music played at Celtic Park, December 2017, when we get beaten by Anderlecht. It's a long, long time. Be 5 years if we don't do it this year, so we don't want that to happen. And you can see, the level and the change European competition as well. That teams in the Champions League, look at Man City last week, away to the Portuguese champions, and they absolutely battered them, man. So, yeah, and even, Salzburg, who we came pretty close against, I know we get beat over the 2 games. I say pretty close against, but we didn't look. We went 1-up in Austria. They held Bayern Munich last week, so you can even see that as a step up in level for those teams. Patrick, what would you say is the biggest things that we can learn from that game last Thursday against Bodo Glimt? I said to you, not that we should be modelling ourselves in Bodo Glimt, but in terms of the way that they're drilled, in terms of the way they're in and out of possession, that they played Ange ball, as we've come to know it, pretty well, didn't they, last Thursday?
They did. They were streetwise as well, I know it was our first competitive game for 2.5 months or something, but they were getting cramped left, right and centre, going down, wasting time. And, wasting time could ultimately cost them with that goalkeeper getting a yellow card. He's now out for the game on Thursday. And I think that could be a big miss because I think, playing it out from the back and then also being a pretty decent shot stopper, I think he was quite crucial to their defending. But, they are... I don't want to say they are where we want to be because I don't think that should be the height of our ambitions. Bodo Glimt, no offence to them. They did beat us 3-1 at home, but I don't think they should be where we aim to be. But as you say, that European competition, it has changed the last couple of years. The 2 times we qualified under Rodgers, I think we only had to play 3 ties in the qualifying rounds, and then the cycle changed and we had to play 4. And that Champions League music plays in the playoff, and we still haven't heard it since December 2017. So that shows you that the 4 qualification ties was just too much for us. We couldn't even get to a playoff game. So it's incredibly difficult, and it's also why the league is so important. Especially this season because of the automatic entry. Well, you assume automatic entry. As long as whoever wins it also qualifies for it through their league path. But you've just got to think about the next game, and you've got to think, if we play our best stuff, I'd like to think we can at least take it to extra time on Thursday and then just see what happens from there.
No, I totally agree with you. I would like us to go get the result, to get that 18-year hoodoo off the back. And again, I think it gives the team great momentum heading into the game at Easter Road. Lawrence, just finally, before we wrap up in this one, probably around Celtic in Europe, something in our game that I've noticed ever more increasingly. Matt O'Reilly, when he came in, was taking corners for us, and he looked as if he was pretty decent at it. And Thursday even we had 12 corners to Bodo's 0. Can you remember anything that we created out of those corners on Thursday night?
No, nothing. We don't create a lot. We don't have a lot of height in the team. Our 2 centre-halves are 6 foot, and if you look through their career history, they don't score a lot of goals. It's 1 or 2 a season. So we don't have a lot of threat there. O'Reilly's one of our taller midfielders, but he's taking the corners. Rodgers, one of the taller guys of the team, but he's not a threat in the air. So, hopefully Yakimakis kicks on from his hat-trick against Bottom League Dundee to provide a bit of real threat in there, but I think it's something we've continually said. We don't seem to get a lot from corners. And conversely, it's maybe why we're so bad at defending them as well. We don't have guys that are particularly strong in the air. If you were to bet on someone scoring a header for us, who would it be? It's kind of... Is there anyone out there that's a favourite?
Chris Julian, who's on the bench.
Stephen Welsh.
Is going to get match time. Well, Stephen Welsh, I think, might be the last one to do it.
Yakimakis scored a corner at the weekend. Scored a header at the weekend, sorry, not a corner.
Yep. So hopefully it kicks on.
What Patrick's saying, so hopefully it kicks on. Patrick, what was your thoughts on that one with the corners? Even again, I thought Bodo, we saw that ever increasing thing kind of creep into our game again, and it was cross, and just nothing. It was very frustrating at times last Thursday evening with that. Yeah,
we seem to, in the games that we are frustrating for ourselves, we seem to end up just crossing it constantly. That St Mirren game being the absolute peak. I think we had something like 60 crosses or something and couldn't get a single goal. It's obviously what we resort to when it isn't working. Luckily it paid off against Dundee, but again at Dundee, set pieces are our downfall at both ends of the park. We concede from 2 set pieces, and then I've just checked there, we had 11 corners and didn't do a single thing from them.
12 corners.
12? No, 12
I'm talking about the BBC
game.
Sorry, the Dundee game. Yeah, sorry.
We had 11-2, and you said against Bodo 12-0. You know, It's hard to think that they didn't have a corner. It just shows that they didn't, apart from the goals they scored, they didn't really test the goalkeeper. You know, nothing really was palmed out or kicked away. It was so clinical, and you know the third goal's a sucker punch because it takes such a massive deflection. But it was our downfall last season. You know, we didn't have a massive problem scoring last season, as bad as we were. It was the goals we conceded. I think something like 13 out of the 16 halfway through the season were from set pieces.
Or set in rotation, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that counts from like throw-ins and corners, and you know, as you say, second attempts and all that sort of stuff. But it's been a problem for 2 years now, and it's something that Ange obviously hasn't sorted out. I mean, we concede less goals in the league, granted, but the goals that we do concede are coming from set pieces still. We have a real problem with this, and you know, at that top level, it's going to cost us. You can't expect to compete in Europe if you can't defend a corner.
No, absolutely. And this leads us on to our next conversation, and it comes in from a Facebook user. Sorry, Lawrence, I'm blocking you just now while I read this out. Our corner conversion is woeful. We're also losing goals and corners with teams who are blocking players and making particular movements to throw us. Hatate playing with his socks on Sunday. Yeah, I noticed that in the sports scene, as if he's fixing his shin guard. Completely switched off when that corner comes in. But Lawrence, before we came on air, there's two hands roomed by O'Reilly at the corner that Dundee convert. What was your take on that? And again, up at Pittodrie, I thought the one on Starfelt, I think it was. Possibly
Brown on
Scott
Starfelt.
Brown with a foul. Was a foul. What is the difference with the two? And what's your thoughts on that one?
It's a foul. I think that's why O'Reilly's got his hands out, isn't it? Ref, I can't remember where the guy's holding me here. It's a foul. Obviously, I've not got them. I'm sure the press are now going to shout for VAR about that. Both of those will back up their case for VAR. But yeah, both of them players blocked. It's foul. Listen, we average, I think, about 10 corners a game this season, and we really need to do it better. Yeah, it's whether it's learned. We've got to learn we're going to be blocked, haven't we? You know, and find a way out of it. But then again, O'Reilly's maybe going, well, if I shove him, is the ref going to point to the spot here? It's something you'd expect to get picked up on, especially when he's got his arms out and he's shouting at the ref. Either the ref or the assistant ref should be picking up, and the guy's holding him round the waist, stopping him from moving. You know, it wouldn't have been a goal, it would have been a foul. It's both games. It's kind of pivotal decisions, isn't it? It's dragging the other teams back into it. So it's hopefully something that the head of ref at Means having a word about. I'm sure he'll come out in the press. Yeah, well,
Crawford Allen's been quite vocal this season, so if he wants to, pick up these things, he's more than welcome to. Lewis Laird, who again I've spoken about on here. If you want to check out any updates about Celtic B team, Lewis is your man on Twitter. Give him a follow. But he's reminded us, Patrick, that we scored from the short corner or the opening goal on Sunday. That might be something we might look to do more often this season because, we got that goal from it. It might be, something, if we're not doing it, as we've already said, direct from corners, probably try this more often than not now.
Yeah, and we do take a lot of short corners now. I mean, obviously that is something that Ange and the backroom staff have identified. I'm just trying to think the other corners that we've scored this season, Welsh scored one against Hearts and against Real Betis. Carter Vickers scored one against Hibs. I'm trying to think beyond that. I can't think of one that's, straight into the box that we've scored from. But as Lewis said, we've got these short corners. We obviously fancy ourselves better, keeping the ball on the ground. It's less of a risk, less of a gamble. We know that we're in control of the ball, try to break a team down. And it worked on Sunday there. And what a finish, by the way, from Giakoumakis for that first goal. That was incredible to turn like that. But yeah, maybe that's what we'll do in future. It doesn't help us defend corners. We're still conceding goals from set pieces, and it can be our downfall at times. So we need to look at the defence, I think, from set pieces because it cost us on Sunday and it cost us last season, and it will probably cost us in Europe in the future if we don't get it sorted.
I like this idea from Stainslew the Doctor, again, our usual Tuesday contributor, that we should invite a ref on to explain some of the crazy decisions. They're more than welcome, but I don't think they'd be be interested in coming on here to talk about decisions. But let's get to the meat and bones of Sunday afternoon. It was obviously a disappointment in Europe. On Thursday, Lawrence, we had the chance to go 3 points to the top of the table. There was a bit of pressure on the team. We went one down, just covered there. But we rose to the occasion, and Giakoumakis is the man of the moment for us.
Yeah, he can certainly take an elbow to the face, can't he? You know, he's didn't stop him. Again, must be the ref and assistant ref, but 3 goals, 3 first-time touches, left foot, right foot header. We just need to do it against, as well as teams at the bottom of the table. We won't be doing it against teams at the top of the table, or near the top of the table. Not the top, we want to remain there. But yeah, you know what, I think Giakoumakis, since the Rangers game's really kicked on. I thought Rangers was his best performance, but it's all about just picking up the 3 points in these games. Seeing it as a mini league until the split. If you can win every game through the split, you get a chance to breathe, and then we'll see what way the fixture list falls, who we're visiting more often than not. But it was just about 3 points. We've done it the hard way, but the team's dragged our performance out. It's not bad for a 60-minute team with all these late goals.
Yeah, team full of, what was it, the phrase that came up last night in Twitter's pass out? Was it workers or something like that? Grafters? Something like that. Workies, I think it might have been. Eight consecutive league wins, Patrick. 21 games in the league unbeaten. What was your take on that? Because again, I'm totally agreement with Lawrence here. Whether it's 3-2, 1-0, 8-7, I don't really care how we're winning games just now, as long as we're getting 3 points. That is the main thing for Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you play well and get 3 points, because no use supporting a football team if they're not going to play well and win the game. If it's a boring 1-0, it's not much entertainment. And as Jock, Steam and Betty all said, you're there to entertain. That's the most important thing. And we are entertaining. Ange is entertaining, and we are also getting the 3 points. But I think it's quite interesting. Every time there's been pressure on us, we've either slipped up or left it late. That Livingston game, we had a chance to win it after the 90 minutes with that penalty. And unfortunately for Giakoumakis, he probably takes the worst penalty of his entire career to date. Dundee United, obviously, we leave it until injury time as well. And then at the weekend there, we leave it till the 86th minute. And all 3 times, you can look at the stats, the expected goals and total shots and stuff, possession, passes. We deserve to win all 3 games. We didn't. We only won 2, but that's football, isn't it? So we've taken our chances thus far. We're 3 points ahead. We're 31 points away from a title. We just need to keep on playing our best football, picking up 3 points, and if we play the way that we did at Easter Road the last time, I'll take a 3-1 victory again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was good to get that hoodoo off the back. It's always a tough place to go. Sean Maloney, touched on it earlier, Lawrence, good win at the weekend for them against Ross County, but be a very different game against ourselves. Somebody's come into YouTube to comment, good to see we can grind out results, former champions. I totally agree with that one. I just hope it's sustainable for the next 11 games, that we can continue to do that, or even raise our level a bit in games. Lawrence, going to come to you in this one. Ryan Kelly has come in to ask, how can we manage to get Julian fully back in the team again? Now that the fact that we find ourselves in the title running stage of the season, is it worth taking a chance on him? I know you had thoughts on this in January, Lawrence, but as he stands, he's obviously still a Celtic player. He's on the bench. Another clip came out yesterday where he's talking about his recovery back into the team. What is the type of games that he's going to get the chance in? Because Bodo, I don't think, is the type of game to give him the chance in. Easter Road's not the type of game. As a game like St Mirren at home, the game to play Chris Julian and, be rotating centre halves, or is that something that we just shouldn't be even thinking about at this point in time? And even if we're going to do that, should it not be Stephen Welsh that's the rotating centre half instead of Chris Julian?
Well, I think Welsh is ahead of him. The only time Julian's going to get any minutes is if we're 2 or 3 up, and he'll come on and get 15, 20 minutes. It's 13, 14 months now since the last kicked the ball. Yeah, in the first team, he's going to be miles off it. He got 15 minutes, but I think he's going to be miles off the pace, and I don't think he'll get I don't think he'll get into the team again. Not his first choice for the rest of this season. And then it'll leave us with the summer to kind of decide what we do with him with a year in his contract. But yeah, Julian's I think he's yesterday's man at this stage. If we keep a hold of Cameron Carter-Vickers, hopefully Ange is looking for a left-hand sided centre half, because Stafford's a right-hand side centre half. He's playing out of position. So I can't see Julian getting any meaningful minutes, shall we say. Yeah, the only time I can see him playing is off the bench when we're 2 or 3 up.
Yeah, I think there's going to be limited chances, Patrick, to give him that opportunity. Even now, Scottish Cup, game away at Tannadice, it's not the one to be trying out things and trying to give players game time. We're talking about centre half there. Patrick, I'll come to you on this one. We saw Tony Ralston and Josip Juranovic again as fullbacks at the weekend. Greg Taylor not in the team. What was your thoughts on that one? Is that something you think we could possibly go back to? The third goal obviously comes from Tony Ralston, and I'm going to give him some real praise here, and I think he's really due it. Big moments for us this season. He's a big moment player. 20 appearances, 4 goals, 7 assists. That assist on Sunday, he went top of our assist chart over Abada and Rogic. He really has been playing out his skin for us this season. He's a player that I think Ange can trust. I certainly trust him when he's in that team. Is it that we go back to Tony Ralston and Josip Juranovic? Is that something you think we could possibly see on Thursday night?
Possibly. I'd be quite worried if I was Greg Taylor, because we all know that he played badly, or certainly had a bad performance. But for the manager to actually drop him and play someone out of position, that must hurt as a football player, especially when it's Dundee. And as much as a bad game, you probably fancy Greg Taylor to do okay against Dundee, especially at home. But no, as you say, I think he will. That's probably why he done it against Dundee, actually, to sort of test it out and make sure Juranovic still feels comfortable in that position. Full credit to Ralston. I think, 11 goal contributions, 4 goals, 7 assists this season. You read out
4
there.
goals, 7 assists. He's top of the charts.
There you go. And it also shows, just how important that position is for us. I think we've got by far the most cutbacks in the league, and it shows you your goals come from cutbacks. If your second choice right back has 7 assists, I think Ralston at right back is arguably better than Greg Taylor at left back, and we know that Juranovic at left back is better than Greg Taylor at left back. So I think that probably is the selection for Thursday. It's evidently a target for us in the transfer window this summer. If we want to take that next level, we probably need to sign at least 2 or 3 players, maybe 4, and I think that's probably one of the 3 or 4 positions we'll be looking at, in my opinion.
Steen 1967 comes in on YouTube to say thought Juranovic left impacted the whole balance of the team at the weekend. He doesn't think it would work against quality opposition. Johnny Ryan is agreeing with that, and that he thinks that Taylor will be back in on Thursday. Lawrence, what's yours take on this? Who do you think will be at left back, and who do you think will be at right back when we go to Bodo on Thursday? Do you think that the balance of the team is upset? Patrick mentioned earlier that Dundee targeted that left-hand side. What was your thoughts on that one?
I definitely think the balance of the team's upset. It means your left-hand centre back's right-footed and your left back's right-footed. So your back four's all predominantly right-footed. So it does upset the balance, and that's maybe why Dundee played to it. I know they've got maybe the new manager bounce, but let's not forget that they're bottom of the league, Dundee, and although we won, it wasn't wholly convincing. So I'd expect to see Taylor coming back in at left back, and I'd probably leave Ralston in at right back just now.
It's a fair shout. Daniels came in there to say third highest assist in the league by Tony Boy. Fair play to him, because I think at the start of the season we keep getting back to this. None of us saw him, becoming such an important player for us that he is, and he seems to always be like to be involved in the late goal. Obviously, the one up at Dingwall, the place went absolutely crazy, and then he gets that assist at the weekend. But again, you saw even Juranovic at that point, Patrick, bombing down that right hand side, and if you look back at the Unican goal, Juranovic is kind of a bit frustrated with the ball, and Ralston gets the ball over, and Giacomakis gets his header and his hat-trick and wins us the game. It's 6 goals, Patrick, from 5 starts for Georgios Giakoumakis since that miss against Livingston. It was a perfect hat-trick, left-right. Right-left, I think it was. Try to think, caught that ball the ball. I think it was right-left and in the header. How important can he be for us for the rest of this season if he stays fit? Because, I disagree with Lawrence in the point. What he was saying about him earlier, I think not having that pre-season affected him. He's came back in after January, he's worked hard, he's got his head down. And at this point in time, I certainly agree in what Lawrence said, that his second choice, if Kyogo's back, when that will be, I hope it's in the coming weeks, he's probably second choice to Kyogo. But if he keeps up this form, there's no reason why Kyogo merits just to walk into the team if Giakoumakis is scoring goals every week. But you know how important Kyogo for the Hash can be to us, but it won't be easy for him to get back in. And again, I think that will improve his game when he comes back in, that there's somebody pushing there.
I think Ange is the type to drop Giakoumakis immediately as soon as Kyogo's fit.
You think so?
Yep. He dropped Ralston for the cup final after he scored the 97th minute winner. I think he'll be totally worthless and put Kyogo straight back in as soon as he's fit. That might not be for another month. I think it
might not be for another month.
Yeah,
but probably depend what Juranovic does Giakoumakis does between now and when Kyogo's fit.
If he scores a hat-trick in every game, I think he'll probably keep his position.
Yeah, it's a hat-trick against Dundee, bottom of the league, but if he does it against higher quality opposition, if he goes to Ibrox and scores a hat-trick, it could be hard to take him out of the team then. So we need him to do it against higher level opposition and more consistently.
I think Kyogo's maybe 3 or 4 weeks away. I think he'll put him straight back in my opinion. I think when we go to Ibrox in something like 4.5 weeks, 5.5 weeks, I can certainly see Kyogo playing in that game if he's fit.
I totally agree with that, but again, it's about rotation with the two of them, and I'm just saying that I don't think Kyogo walks in and keeps throughout the team completely. And Giakoumakis has already proved as well. Later stages of games, he might be quite effective in coming on 60, 70 minutes. He holds the ball up quite well, and he's a big physical presence, and we can see that he knows where the net is. And again, where does Maeda fit in all of this? Because we're talking about Kyogo, we're talking about Giakoumakis. Seen him played out in the wing at the weekend, Patrick. To me, fully fit, everybody firing. Your front three is Kyogo, Abada and Jota. So where does Maeda come in all of that?
Well, he's certainly the third choice striker. When it comes to left winger, he's probably second choice to Jota. But Jota can play either side. It just gives us options. I don't think there's any cause for concern. He's still not our player technically. I know we've got an obligation to buy him, but he still is technically a loan player just now. I can see him probably being our first choice left winger next season, if I'm being honest. There was a lot of noise about Jota in December and January. It's sort of quieting down now. I think if it's between him and Carter Vickers, I think we're probably going to move for Carter Vickers first. I would love us to sign them both. I want us to sign them both. I can't see it happening, if I'm being honest. So I can definitely see Maeda being maybe our first choice left winger next season. For the rest of this season, he's an incredibly quick player, great at pressing the ball. He's making those runs in the box. He made so many runs against Bodo and we just couldn't find him. Our build-up play just wasn't good enough. We're sort of creating half chances, and eventually does get his goal. But if we're able to create chances, he'll get on the end of them. So it's good to have an option who can play in striker and left wing, but I don't think he's a first choice starter, as you say.
Yeah, I think he's did really well though since he's came in. I think that there needs to be, people shouldn't have any expectation. Kyogo came in and hit the ground absolutely running. It must be very difficult to come to Scotland, halfway around the world from Japan. He finished top goal scorer in the league in there, so he certainly knows how he scored goals. It's just about giving a guy time, and from what I've seen, I think he can be a top quality player from Celtic. Giakoumakis gets that second goal from a decent ball in from him. It's a cracking header at the weekend. We saw both what he can do, and I think he's a very important player. In terms of rotation going forward here, Dyson Maeda can be a real top player for us in the coming weeks, and can be a really important player, and hopefully going on to win that league championship. Lawrence, Near Beaton came on for a wee cameo at the weekend. I think everybody in the stadium, apart from Ange Postecoglou, probably questioned it when he came on himself. Abada, Tom Rodgett all entered the park. but I thought he was excellent when he came on. It was the player that we definitely needed in there. He did that anchor role very well, and I think for me, looking forward to Thursday, I'd definitely be playing near Beaton on Thursday and letting Callum McGregor push a wee bit further forward. What's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, natural position for Beaton. It's a position he excels in. So, yeah, I think it's a brilliant option to have there. Callum, I do like him further forward. I don't know how much the mask is affecting Callum and what he can see and his contribution to the team. But,
he's commented on that. He said that after the Rangers game, that his vision wasn't as perfect as it usually is without that. So it's obviously an issue to an extent, not a big issue, but it is there.
But no worries about playing Beaton there. But just going back to Maeda, I think the way Ange plays, you're going to need to change your front three at some point during the game. He asked them to do an awful lot of work, doesn't he? So I think they'll all get a chance. It's just getting up to speed. We forget the Japanese guys are like a season and a half now without a break, aren't they? It's maybe the amount of football's tailing on them a wee bit. I don't know, but I think our forward players, that front three will all get a chance, won't it? And then it's just a matter of taking it and being ready for it. He's really quick, closes down. Yeah, can see him play in the left, can see him play through the middle. Same with Kyogo. Maybe it'll be interesting to see the two of them in the team together. I think they'll link up well, because I think that's maybe what's missing. Kind of the link up sometimes between the front players isn't as what you'd want it to be. You kind of go back to Sutton and Hearts, and it was almost telepathic, wasn't it? Do we have kind of that between the players in the team just now? I'm not too sure, but maybe it'll come with game time. But I look forward to seeing Maeda and Kyogo. Maybe we'll have a couple of games to spare at the end of this, because we're 30 points away from winning the league, aren't we? Yeah.
With the superior goal difference, I
just know it's 11 games. I'm not doing the maths too quickly yet, because we've got a hell of a lot of tough fixtures coming up.
If we win 10 of our games, we'll win.
Yeah, we've got a 9-goal advantage, so it's basically 30 points.
So you'll be beating the Rangers in one of the games if you win 10?
That is true, aye.
So
you'd be 6 points ahead.
Yeah.
All depends. One game at a time. It's one game at a time.
Certainly.
You can't look at this fixture list. I think a lot of people would have looked at Dundee and Sunday and thought, bottom of the league. Yeah, Mark McGee's come in as a new gaffer, but that'll be an easy 3 points for us. Look how that turned out. It's not going to be easy this run-in. We've still got to go to Easter Road again, and still to go to the Spaghetti Ad, two places that we've struggled with in the past. Hopefully, again, it's about getting hoodoos going, hopefully this season. That could be put right on Thursday. We've already did the Easter Road this year. This season, sorry, not this year. That was obviously last year in October. Hopefully that's another one to tick off.
That bottom six though is going to be scraping for points, aren't they?
Yeah, it's very tight. It's very tight.
I suppose you don't really want to be facing the bottom six just now, because I think if you look at the tables, they're probably better than like the teams 3 to 5 in terms of their last 6 results. I think down there they're all fighting for their lives, aren't they?
Yeah. Brownwater has just come in to say he thinks that Maeda could have had a hat-trick against Dundee. Yeah, he's certainly getting into the positions, and I think he will, kick on. Not that he's not already kicked on, because he's scored. His scoring record's very good. His assists are fairly decent as well too. So I think there's still plenty of time to rotate. I agree with you, Lawrence. The front three that played over in Ferencváros looks as if they complemented very well. It'll be interesting to see how Kyogo links up with Maeda when he comes back into the side. When that will be, we don't know. Patrick, near Beaton, what's your thoughts on that one? He didn't give the ball away once when he came on at the weekend. I know you're not his biggest fan, but in European football, I think at times maybe we need that anchor just to give the back four a bit of protection. He strolled the game in Leverkusen, near Beaton on Thursday night in Norway. Yes or no?
I don't know, is the honest answer.
I never asked for that. I don't know. I said yes or no.
Well, it's all you're getting, I'm afraid, because we didn't match them for tempo, for playing our own game. I think our own game's a lot slower when near Beaton plays. So it's whether we fancy ourselves to match them and outplay them, or whether we just sort of try and contain them and hope that our 5 forward players can create something. And it's down to Ange. I'm not sure what he'll do. One thing I will say is I really hope that Hatate and Giakoumakis start. I'd find it hard to imagine him dropping Giakoumakis after after Sunday. But if he's got a plan in his head, he'll stick to it. Definitely, he totally believes in what he's doing. I would definitely start Hatate though. I thought he was a big miss. I know he was caught fixing his shin pads at the first goal of the weekend, but hopefully we won't give them a lot of set pieces. They had no corners, obviously, so I'd certainly go with Hatate and McGregor. Who fills that other space, I'm not too sure. But if he plays Beaton, I'll have no complaints as long as he plays him in midfield.
Yeah, 100%. We've seen Near Beaton feature too much for Celtic European football at centre half. I don't think there's a chance of that, but I'd certainly give him the game in midfield. Again, a player who seems to be the forgotten man is Yusuke Ideguchi. Came on against Hibs. Featured against Alaba. If it wasn't for that crunching challenge, it'd be interesting to see where he won't be Thursday. Definitely won't be Thursday. But interesting to see again where he gets game time. I do think that he thinks he'll probably get a chance at one point in the team. I'd be interested to see how he plays. He was one of the ones, I think, Patrick, that people said it was fair whack of money that we'd paid for him. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays. Lawrence, looking towards Thursday, what would be your starting 11? Is it important to test Bodo early and try and get an early goal to put us in the front foot? It's going to be tough, as I say. I was talking to JP Taylor yesterday, who'd been over there to have a look about. He's posted an image on Twitter, Patrick. You said it looks a bit like a shed to get into the ground. It's going to be a bit like Gayfield, and it's all open. It'll be a cold wind coming through. Is it just getting that early goal and trying to test out a team who's not played in 3 months and seeing if we can put them under a bit of pressure at their own backyard?
Yeah, it'll be no surprise that we're going to play attacking football under Ange and go for an early goal. If you get the early goal, there's only one in it, so it's all to play for. If you score the first 5-10 minutes, Bodo might get a bit worried. It puts a different complexion on it for them. My team, I would have Hart and goals, Taylor, Starfelt, Carter Vickers, Ralston. I'd play Beaton, Rio, Rogic, Jota, Giakoumakis and Abada. I'd give Kalmak a rest and keep him on the bench. I
can't see that happening. I think Kalmak's an integral part of that Celtic team. Patrick, my team.
I'm not saying that'd be Ange's team, mate. That would be mine.
But, I think he'll play on Thursday. I think it'll be Joe Hart and goals. I think it'll be a back four of Anthony Nelson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Karel Starfelt, Josip Juranovic. I think Kalmak, Matt O'Reilly, possibly near Beaton in the midfield. And I think up top, Jota, Abada and Giakoumakis is what I fancy on Thursday. Patrick, what do you think about that? Is that an Ange-looking team?
Possibly. But I don't think he'll go for Beaton. I think, he backs his style of play.
Ryan's agreeing with me in this one, by the way, too, so I'm getting a bit of support in this.
Well,
I didn't think I'd be chanting for near Beaton after Christmas in Europe last season, but hey ho, here we are.
I think we'd be playing a totally different style if we were to start near Beaton. We'd be setting up to contain them instead of trying to outplay them. And, we failed to outplay them in the first leg. I think we'll want to outplay them in the second leg to prove something, if nothing else, to prove it to ourselves that we can and are capable of doing so. So I'd start the three that started the derby, Hatate, O'Reilly, McGregor.
Okay.
And I'd go with Giakoumakis, Jota, Abada up front and the same back five that you went with, Juranovic, left back.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. I think that might have been why we looked at that at the weekend to see if it still worked out. But in Ange we trust. I hope that Celtic get that victory on Thursday. It'll be a tough journey through to Easter Road. If we can pick up the result over in Norway, I think it'll put us in a good place come the game at Easter Road. But again, we shall be back tomorrow with the usual Bulletin. Thursday, the Bulletin, all the match coverage will be there. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like. Thank you to everyone who's commented today. It's always appreciated. And thank you for watching us on A Celtic State of Mind.